Deputy Speaker of the House, former MP of long standing for Ribble Valley. Nigel, welcome.
32 years, Mike.
My goodness me.
Another prison sentence.
And you don't look a day over 34. Great to see you here. Thank you very much for coming in.
Real pleasure.
This is our new home, the home Common Sense. We had a bit of a blip earlier on, but we've got the audience back. I think we were attacked by some foreign...
The Chinese.
It could be the Chinese, or it could be a bit closer to home, actually, you never know. But listen, we just watched Kemi Badenoch there talking about the Chagos Islands, asking a question. You were tweeting out yesterday about Darren Jones, because the Labour position now on the Chagos Islands seems to be all over the place, doesn't it?
Yeah, well, if you go back to what David Lammy was saying a year ago, he said, listen, the Americans are happy with it. If they weren't, we wouldn't be doing it. Well, now the Americans are not happy with it. They've woken up, finally, to the problems that this could deal with. It may be 99 years down the line, but I tell you what, 99 years comes.
Yes.
Poor old Donald Trump, right? I mean, I try and defend him now and again, but even I think have come to my limit on this one. But he got this idea that we were selling it. You know, do we need the money? Well, the fact is we do need the money. But even Starmer, Starmer's the only man who could go into DFS and come out without a deal.
Yes.
I mean, literally, he paid more for a sofa than was the asking price.
I've said this whole Chagos Islands deal is constructed like somebody selling a second-hand car, and I say to you, look, I've got this terrible old Ford Escort. It's in a terrible state. It's been run down for 25, 30 years. Would you like it? I'll give you £1 million to take it away. And that's kind of what it is, isn't it?
Yeah, no, it's absolutely bonkers. So we're paying £35 billion to Mauritius, who apparently now are going to give tax cuts to everybody living in Mauritius, in order for them to take an island that is British sovereign territory. You couldn't make it up, and that's why I think Donald Trump can't understand it.
Yes. Well, I wonder as well whether at the time, because I was always expecting Donald Trump to sort of throw a spanner in the works on this deal anyway, and I wonder whether he wasn't really paying attention when it was being explained to him, or nobody really ever actually told him what the ins and outs of the deal were.
Yeah, he got it wrong, completely wrong. Yeah, he took his eye off the ball. His eyes were on Greenland. I can't really understand why. I mean, I'm trying to get my head around the Greenland thing. Because William Hague was writing about it the other day in the Times, and he's basically saying, well, the Americans can do fairly well what they like as far as using Greenland for defence, so why do they need to own it? And I can only think of one or two things. One is the rare earth minerals. Denmark has stopped the Greenlanders from developing those rare earth minerals, and he clearly wants to do that. And the second one is, you have to remember that this year is the 250th anniversary of independence of the 13 colonies from the United Kingdom. And maybe this is the Trump legacy, to say, in the 250th anniversary, I added another state.
Yes.
So maybe it's something as simple as that.
It could be. I mean, I was sort of marvelling earlier in the week at the kind of sheer, I think, deliberate obfuscation by a lot of members of the media, my colleagues, former colleagues, in what you might call the sort of main broadcasting networks, who were kind of almost willfully misunderstanding what Trump was saying. It was very clear to me that Donald Trump was not embarking on World War III. It was very obvious he wasn't going to invade Greenland.
And do us a favour, do tell me, Mike, what was that thing about these 8 European countries sending, 3 soldiers each?
I know.
Or whatever it was.
It was like a comedy show.
It was definitely poking the bear. It was, and he reacted.
But I mean, the fact was that one, that was never going to stop him if he was going to invade. I mean, I don't know if you've seen some of the weaponry that they used in Venezuela, but some of the stuff that they've unveiled is quite shockingly, frightening. Nobody else has got weapons like this stuff, right? So he could have walked it, but there was never the news this morning is entirely as I suspected it would be. He's going to do some kind of deal with NATO. He's going to get more control over more bases. He's going to put more troops in, and apparently it's going to act a bit like our deal is with Cyprus, where British sovereign territory is part of Cyprus because it's a British base. He will have American bases, which are sovereign territory for America in Greenland. And everyone will just roll over and say, thanks very much indeed, we'll all go home happy.
That's the deal.
Yeah, that's the deal. And if you're a Greenlander, you might get $1 million in cash into the bargain.
I mean, to be honest, if Donald is looking to add an extra state, he might as well have a chat.
Because we could do with a bit of an influx of money. I mean, the way Rachel Reeves is running down the economy, we're going to just sell it to somebody.
Yeah, I know. I've actually been to Greenland, Mike. I went a couple of years ago. There's 50 50-odd thousand people living there.
Right.
I suspect there's more huskies than there are human beings
Yes.
on Greenland. And, you know, for half the year, everything's impassable because of the weather.
And then it's completely in darkness, isn't it?
Yeah. Listen, if I was... Trump's got what he wanted, right? I mean, I don't know...
As he always does.
I know the NATO chief, Rutte, was doing the discussions with Trump, right?
Yeah.
I don't know whether Denmark was part of this or they've just been told, you know, Greenland, it's part of your... Well, bits of it are yours now.
Well, I was listening to Times Radio on the way in this morning, and they were talking last night to some member of the Danish sort of Defence Select Committee. And they said, so what can you tell us about the deal? He said, nothing. He said, I have no idea what's in it. And they said, well, do you know whether it's got, you know, land being given to America? Don't know. I mean, literally nobody in the Danish government has had a word with anyone about it.
Can you imagine if Donald had set his eyes on the Isle of Wight and Mark Rutte, the NATO chief, had basically said, yeah, OK, you can have bits of the Isle of Wight.
Yeah.
We go, hold on.
Yeah.
The Isle of Wight's British.
Exactly.
Get your hands off.
Exactly. Some people are saying the sound is gone for them, but not everybody's saying it. So if you want to refresh your screen and refresh perhaps the feed that you've got, it should work okay. Plenty of people say the sound is fine, so it's obviously not a massive issue. But thanks for letting us know. What do you make of the whole Conservative defections to Reform? Robert Jenrick, we saw there asking his first question as a member of Reform UK. The Magnificent Seven, they're calling themselves now, 7 MPs, which is a pretty good number considering where they were just 6 months ago.
Yeah, it's a movable number, isn't it?
It kind of is.
They started on 5, then they went down to 4, then they went up to 5, then they went back down to 4.
Yeah.
All right, they're on 7 at the moment. It's an interesting time in politics, I've got to say. There was a vacuum, I have to say, which worried me greatly.
Yes.
When there were no policies coming forward from the Conservative Party whatsoever. There was a review going on and the vacuum was filled by Nigel Farage. And even I was thinking, well, hold on, this isn't great for the Tories at all. Then all of a sudden, the party conference was the big game changer. All of a sudden, Kemi strode onto the stage.
Yeah.
She took control of it. She's taken control of the party. And basically, the Conservative Party is under new management. I mean, Rishi Sunak, right? Don't get me going on him. He made me very, very angry by that early general election. He failed to deliver what he promised when he became leader of the party, which was to stop the boats and send people to Rwanda. He failed on that completely, instead of which he had an early general election and threw 251 of his colleagues, including myself, under the bus.
Yes. And do you think he had that early election because he was worried about what was coming in the summer? Because a lot of people said when the boats were going to become such a critical issue, he didn't want to be in charge. I mean, it seemed to me that Rishi Sunak was he was almost like running it down, running the clock down. He gave up, didn't he?
He gave up completely.
There was, apart from what he said in that one debate on TV with Keir Starmer, where he said, if you let these people in, they will put up your taxes. That was the one thing he got right. But his heart wasn't really in it, was it?
No. Well, everybody knew he was going to lose. Right? Whenever he was going to hold the general election, we knew that we were going to lose. But if he'd held on another 6 months and done one critical thing, which is, of course, what Kemi is now saying, which is, let's pull out of the ECHR. Yeah. Let's replace it with the British Bill of Rights, right? So we've got the protections that we need there. But at the same time, we're not going to have a foreign court telling us that we can't send people who are illegally entering the United Kingdom, that we can't send them to a third country and get them processed there. That's basically all we need to do. Anybody, Mike, who enters the United Kingdom in a small boat from France is, according to me, already committing an illegal act.
Yes, they're already
They should be
criminal.
found immediately guilty of a crime of entering the United Kingdom illegally, and then they should be sent to a third country, I don't care which one, get them processed there, but at the same time, because they are guilty of entering the United Kingdom illegally, they will be told that they will never be allowed to come back to the United Kingdom, right? Wherever else they go, I don't care, but they're not coming back to the United Kingdom for life. Why couldn't have Rishi stood up for the British people in that way? Instead of which he just gave up, and the British people, they didn't run to the Labour Party, by the way. I mean, he only got 33.7% of the vote. Everybody looks at that frightening majority he's got at Westminster. He's got a majority, but he's got no mandate. Just a third of those who voted for him. And if you include those who didn't bother to vote at all, which was an increased number last time, then only 1 in 5 voted for Keir Starmer. He has not got any mandate to do the things that he's doing at the moment.
And not only do the people of the country not have any faith in Keir Starmer, even his own party doesn't have faith in him. I mean, his own backbenchers don't like him. Many people in the Labour movement don't like him. There are already manoeuvrings. I mean, it was just last weekend, wasn't it, where we were told that Wes Streeting's being kind of sat on because there are fears that he's plotting to remove Starmer and move into number 10 himself. And Starmer, I still can't believe he's actually in the job still.
No, well, he won't be in the job much longer. You mentioned me talking about Darren Jones. He seems like a quiet, nice guy. But apparently he was one of the people turning on Wes Streeting last week because they're all afraid that Wes is on manoeuvres. Of course Wes is on manoeuvres. We all know that. So will be Angela Rayner, so will some of the others within the Labour Party, and so will Darren Jones be on manoeuvres as well. At one stage I thought there was a real danger that come May, we've got these local elections, Scottish, if they take place.
Some local elections,
and I think that is absolutely frightening, by the way. I used to be chair of the Inter-Parliamentary Union and the Commonwealth Parliamentary Association in Westminster when I was an MP. Part of my job, Mike, was to go around some countries, some of them a bit iffy, and to lecture them about the importance of democracy. How impossible is that now going to be when we have a government that has decided to junk democracy? 4 million people who should, and we're expecting to have votes in May at local elections, will now not have that vote. The vote is being taken away from them. What right does any British politician have to go to places like Russia and say, you have to protect democracy?
Exactly.
They really have thrown that out the window. It's alarming.
Add to that a completely kind of nonsensical story this morning in the Telegraph that David Lammy is now not going to halt all jury trials, he's going to halt half of them. And you go, well, why is he halting any of them? Jury trials, part, again, of our great democracy, part of, what makes Britain a free country, what makes Britain a country to be admired.
Go up to the Justice Department. Clearly Lammy goes there daily. He should read the words that are actually stuck onto the glass of the Justice Department. It's a quote from the Magna Carta about the importance of jury trials. I mean, seriously, I stopped there the other day when I walked past it, and I read it, and I went, what? I mean, Lammy, have a look. Have a look about the importance of jury trials. And as somebody who has actually gone through a jury trial, I can tell you how important they are.
Absolutely.
I prefer 12 of my peers to say whether I was guilty or not, rather than one person. I mean,
particularly now that the judiciary appears to become so politicised, because we now have, judges willy-nilly, allowing people who have committed acts of vandalism on behalf of the climate, or thrown paint on buildings, and just let them off on the basis that they're doing something morally right. And you go, well, hang on, morally right is not your job. Your job is to punish criminality, and you're not supposed to let people off just because you agree with their politics.
No, absolutely right. And I hope that people, brave Labour members of Parliament like Carl Turner stand up to Keir Starmer on this and David Lammy. I mean, it's hard to think that Keir was actually the head bloke at the DPP, right?
I know.
He was Director of Public Prosecutions.
Although people say to me that actually, entirely in keeping with his character, he wasn't actually a particularly good practicing barrister, and he didn't do an awful lot of pleading anyway. He was more of a kind of administrator, manager type in charge of actually booking other barristers to run the cases.
Well, we know that whenever anybody says, but hold on, you were DPP when Jimmy Savile got away with it. And he never came across my desk.
No, he doesn't like to talk about that. Nothing apparently came across his desk. Let's just go back to Kemi Badenoch and the Tories, though, because of course, I mean, Robert Jenrick was quite a big scalp, probably the biggest scalp for Nigel Farage.
Yes, easily.
To get his hands on.
It was only just over a year ago that he stood against Kemi Badenoch to become leader of the party. I normally, with my deputy speaker hat on, never say how I voted in leadership elections. But I'm proud to say that I did vote for Kemi Badenoch. To think that he came within a few thousand votes of leading the Tory party, and he would have expected absolute loyalty from his troops had he become leader. And now he's gone off to another party. I mean, the way I read it is that he believed that come May, how bad the local elections or the Scottish and Welsh elections will be for the Tories, that Kemi is still going to be safe. If you think about it, right, we had a revolving door on the leader's office when all of a sudden Boris came. We had then Liz Truss for a few days. Then we had Rishi Sunak, and people go, well, hold on, what's going on?
And that bizarre revolving kind of situation where when Nadeem Zahawi was moving over to reform, and people were referring to him as the former Chancellor. And he was Chancellor for like a month, wasn't he? And at one point, I think there were 3 Chancellors.
Socks for longer.
I mean, there were 3 Chancellors in the space of about the same number of months, So it was a very odd time. But I mean, there are plenty of people out there who are predicting that the Conservative Party will sort of die off. And it's already in its final phase.
I absolutely thought that. When we went down to 121, and I looked at it, and then there was no policies.
Right.
And I just thought, well, where is the leadership now? I mean, we really are giving the game away. And then you looked at the opinion polls, and one opinion poll had us going down from 121 to 40 odd.
Right.
I remember, I think it was Michael Patillo who said, when you think you've hit the ground, just remember there could be a basement.
Yes.
If you go to the Park Plaza opposite the House of Commons, there's 4 floors below the ground floor, right?
Yeah.
So that's
sounds a bit like the Chinese embassy they're going to build in Tower Hamlets.
Yeah, but that's the worrying thing. So you never know, right? The great British public, decision day, when the next general election comes, whenever that happens to be, it is up to them to decide what is going to happen. Now, all I can say is the members of the Tory party put Kemi in. She is now showing a bit of steel. She's stood up for pensioners. She has stood up for our veterans. I mean, the latest news today is that Starmer is going to junk the legislation that was protecting our veterans from being dragged into court in their 70s to defend their actions 50 years ago.
I know, shocking.
Do me a favour. These are our veterans. We should be standing up for them, not selling them out. Can you imagine somebody in their 70s being asked about what they did 50 years ago?
I know. While operating in the protection of the Crown and in the protection of the government and in the protection of the people,
and the perverse thing, Mike, who are the one people that have been protected by our legislation? The terrorists, the people planting bombs, the people sniping and killing people. Right. These have been protected. They will not be prosecuted.
Thanks to Tony Blair.
And yet all of a sudden they're going, oh no, the ECHR has said that we have to go for our veterans. Please tell me which bit of law would ever say that you have to go for veterans, but you have to protect terrorists. Tell me which bit of legislation that is, because I can tell you now that legislation needs junking.
Exactly right. Totally right. Great to see you, Nigel. Great to see you in fine fettle as well. Still as feisty as ever. How's life after Parliament?
Interesting. I'm writing my memoirs. I'm up to 25 chapters at the moment. But I got to tell you, I mean, anybody who says politics is boring, I mean, every morning you wake up and you find out what's gone on the other side of the pond about what Trump has said. I just love the fact that European leaders, right, we all know that they hate Donald Trump, right? And Donald knows that, right? Yet they line up in Scotland to pay lip service to him, to bow in front of him. They'll fly the other side of the world to Sharm el-Sheikh to get in on a photo op, which of course went badly wrong for Keir Starmer.
It did.
And yet they despise him. And Donald knows that, and yet, they just don't know how to handle him.
They don't. And this is the thing.
He is erratic.
And they call him erratic, but I don't agree with that line, actually. I think that he's far from erratic. Rather like many people that I've known in journalism, in business, there's a sort of there's an advantage to appearing to be erratic and appearing to be
his own way,
off the cuff.
He's getting his own way.
But if he scripted this and he couldn't have got a better result about Greenland.
Well, listen, if Donald is listening now in his Davos hotel room, because he's got nothing better to do.
Well, they
please,
fixed up
Donald,
Air Force One.
Protect us from Keir Starmer, basically paying to give the Chagos Islands away. And please protect us from this super Chinese embassy that is going into London, which is going to put the security of the world at risk.
Absolutely right. Couldn't agree more. Couldn't agree more. Well done. And of course he's listening, because, I mean, he's got a great deal of common sense, as Donald Trump. I'm thoroughly enjoying this, says Tony. Mike, please get Nigel on again. Well, I'm sure if you're willing to come on again, we would love to have you.
We'll open the champagne
absolutely,
next,
yeah. In fact, we'll get you in maybe for a Friday wine session.
Oh, I'd love that.
We'll do a bit of that.
Yeah, I'd love that.
Here we are, once again, at the end of yet another show. We had a bit of a very strange attack during the course of the show this morning. We're going to try and investigate that, find out whether there's anybody out to get us. Well, of course there are people out to get us. I mean, you know, that's the way it is. It's the Mike Graham Show, though. Coming up, the after show today, Neil and Christine Hamilton are going to join me. We'll take their take on the big stories of the week. And, of course, that will go straight to our Substack subscribers. If you haven't done it yet, you can go and subscribe to Substack and get all of that. And, of course, you can watch it on YouTube in 24 hours' time, because we'll put it out there later on. It's coming up to just about 3 minutes past 9 now. Thanks to Nigel Evans, thanks to all the other guests, thanks to all of you who joined in, and thanks for sticking with us while the attack was going on. We almost got the entire audience back, so thank you very much indeed. This is, of course, the home of common sense. We'll be back at 7 a.m. tomorrow for yet another fabulous breakfast show. And just remember this, no matter how much of it there is out there, do not be a plank.
Remember, despite all of the others out there, it's always the others. Don't be a plank.